Welcome back to the Sports Show with Woody and Les and everyone else. Eric Goodman filling in for Woody. And let's talk some hockey now with Mike Chambers of the Denver Post. He's the beat writer for the Post covering the Avalanche. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Sure. Mike, what the hell happened in the third period last night?
I don't know, but Terry Fry was doing the game story, and his game story was done in the third. It was 4-1 Avs, and they were coasting. They were looking good. And then in a span of 5 minutes, 7 seconds, everything changed. And it was just a horrible stretch for – it was probably one of the worst stretches in franchise history in terms of, 5-10 minute stretch, I would think. Just a horrible way to start the year after the Avs played a really good game up to that point.
Can you pinpoint what went wrong, why they went south so quickly?
Neutral zone turnovers, a lot of good looks in front of Varlamov in the slot. They weren't greasy goals. They beat Varley cleanly. But they were great shots. He's got to be responsible for making some saves there, but certainly the Wild had some outstanding looks. And, they played in the Avs end during that period, partly because of the neutral zone turnovers.
You've been around this town for a long time. One of the biggest criticisms of the Denver Nuggets has been they just don't have leadership in the locker room. I know Landeskog wears the C. They brought in Jerome McGinley, considered to be one of the better leaders in hockey. When you blow a lead like that in your opener at home, I don't think it's unfair to question who is the actual leader on this team. Is that unfair?
I don't think it's
Let me tell you what I think he would have said. The answer is no. And that is a big concern. I think they gave the C to Landeskog way too early. Matt Duchene is a very talented player, although he had a real costly turnover. He's a really nice guy.
He got pushed around in that third period last night.
Their core is talented. And I'm not suggesting they don't have heart, but I am suggesting they don't have that step on your throat mentality. And I think that's a big concern when you're talking about your three guys, because O'Reilly's gone now. When you're talking about Duchene, McKinnon, and Landeskog. Did you hear the question that I asked before you got cut off?
Yeah, about leadership, and I was talking, and then it went dead.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think it's certainly normal to question everybody on the team, from the head coach to the backup goaltender. I think it was such an epic collapse that I think everybody has to take a little blame and say what the heck happened and how do we avoid it in the future.
Mike, is this an aberration? It's one game. There are 81 more games left in the season. Is this an aberration, or is this something to worry about, that they allowed a rival on their home ice to score 4 goals in 5.5 minutes?
Yeah. I still don't think the Avs are as good as they need to be on the blue line defensively, and Varlamov needs to make some big saves late in the third period. But certainly I thought the first 2 periods, the Avalanche, in terms of offense, looked very well. It looked very good. They were sharp, and they're 100% still on the power play, 2 for 2. So offensively, things look good, but yeah, I think that there's still a lot of questions defensively that this team needs to overcome.
And I would agree with you on the concerns on defense, although I think Boschman played a pretty good game. It's the forwards that kept turning the puck over, not the defensemen. It was the forwards that kept turning the puck over. And, I don't want to bring up Joe Sakic when he used to play, but Les and I talked about it before. When Joe Sakic played, he would skate by his bench in a situation like we saw last night and say, I got it. I don't think they have an I got it guy. I don't think they have a Parise who's going to say, I'm going to take over. Who's more talented, Nathan McKinnon or Zach Parise? I think Nathan McKinnon's more talented. I think that Duchene's more talented. But I think that Parise has something that those guys just don't have, and I think that's the missing equation with this team.
Eric, I completely agree with you. Matt Duchene wants to be that player. He's capable of being that player, but last night he was -3.
Yep. And you can say the same thing for Landeskog, too.
Mike, if you're not getting it from the players, should the leadership be coming from the head coach? Does he need to be more animated, more emotional?
I think everybody wishes that he would be. His first career game, he was so animated, he kind of set a standard that we haven't seen since.
Yeah. He needed to do that last night, Mike.
I agree with you.
At some point, like when it was 4-3. Hey, really appreciate your time, Mike. We'll be talking to you throughout the season, all right?
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, Mike Chambers, he covers the Avalanche for the Denver Post, and that segment was brought to you by John Elway Cadillac.